Thank you. And yeah, Diana is such a lovely person, isn't she? For all of you that know her, she's just, again, her intentions are pure, and she really does wish for all of us to feel and achieve that joy that she's speaking of. Myself, I am a chiropractor. So I'm a doctor of chiropractic. I've been in practice for over 17 years now. And what I've seen, the reason why, you look at a title of a presentation like How to Master and Control Your Emotion, you might not expect a chiropractor to be standing up in front of you to talk about this subject matter. So let me give you just a little bit of background why I'm talking about this, and then we'll get started with the presentation for tonight. What I've seen in my practice is that out of 100 people that could come into my office, most of them, let's say 99% of them, are going to be in some kind of pain. Okay, so my first question when I ask my patients when they show up and I'm going to do the interview in their history, I'm going to say, what happened? Natural question, what happened to cause all of this pain? You probably won't believe me when I tell you, but at least 80% of the time, the people will say, I don't know. They'll say, I don't know. And most of the time, they're in a lot of pain. So I've done 11 years of post-secondary education in the field of health and wellness, and I know the body. And if you're hurting and if you've injured your body, you know why you're in pain. But nowadays, 80% of the time, people don't know. So when I ask them a little bit more about their history and say, so if you don't know physically what caused your pain, how have you been in your life? And when we retrace back to the time when the pain started, out of those 80% of the people, almost 100% of the time, there's an emotionally damaging event that happened immediately before the onset of their physical symptoms. So what I've seen in my practice, and I've seen thousands of patients, the pattern is the same. Physical injury is not the main cause of physical pain. The main cause of physical pain is emotional suffering to some degree. From something's going on in life that becomes manifest in the body is going to tell you that it's hurting. And it's because your body can only respond to what you feed it. So if you're feeding it something positive, it will tend to feel good, relaxed, joyful, whatever. But if you're feeding it something that's negative, that's toxic, if you're in an environment that is painful to you, and mentally, emotionally, then it eventually becomes something that becomes painful physically as well. So in my practice, I've not only, again, studied the human body and physiology, but I've also become a life coach, so I do a lot of coaching in my practice as well. Try to help people to manage that side of the equation, as well as taking care of their body, getting adjusted, doing some muscle work, massage, acupuncture, whatever, exercise, nutrition. These are all important things for health. But again, I would say 80% of the time, so the vast majority of the time, it's what we're feeding ourselves mentally, emotionally, that ends up creating wellness inside of us. I'm going to give you an example of that too. We're going to guide you through a little bit of an exercise so you can actually feel what I'm talking about, and then we'll continue with the program. Okay, so the exercise is very simple, and it's not going to be dangerous or scary, so don't worry about that, but I am going to ask you to close your eyes. Because what I'd like you to do is put both feet on the floor and close your eyes. And when you close your eyes, once your eyes are closed, just start to focus in on your breathing. So let any other thoughts about the day, about your life, about anything, just let them fade away and just focus in on the breathing. Breathe into the diaphragm or breathe into your chest and abdomen. Observe, be very, very present with that breath. And observe and feel what's happening in your body as you're breathing in. And then let the natural recoil of your lungs just push the air out and relax and breathe out. And just keep this pattern. Again, your focus is on being very present and really paying attention to what's happening in your body. And now, as you continue to breathe, keep that pattern, nice, slow, regular, deep breathing. But as you continue to breathe, I want to bring your mind now to some attention. So I want you to think back in the recent past to one of the most upsetting things that has happened recently. I don't want anything devastating, but something that was frustrating or disappointing or made you feel sad, but something that in your recent past, let's say in the last month or so, that was upsetting to you. And I want you to bring yourself all the way back to that moment. And I want you to re-experience that moment now in your memory. As you're breathing, just feel everything that you felt in that moment of disappointment, upsetness, frustration, whatever it was. Really be there, be present with that feeling and that emotion. And try to just focus on that. And as you're feeling that memory again, I want you to pay attention to what's happening to your body as you're experiencing that event again in your mind. See if you can find the words to describe what the feeling is in your body as you're feeling and thinking that experience and that memory. All right. Slowly come back into the room now. Remember those words that you were thinking of that could describe that feeling in your body. And as you open your eyes, I want you to tell me what words came to you as you were feeling your body. Anyone? Yes?
Heartbeat go up.
Heartbeat went up. Anything else? Anxiety started. Anyone else? Tightness. Anyone else? And remember, this is a very short exercise, so if you couldn't feel something as we were doing that, don't worry about it. It's again, not everybody can get that quickly connected to what they're feeling in their body. But out of even just those four, anxiety, heartbeat went up, tightness, what was the other one? Crying even, tears would come. Okay? So in that short amount of time, I brought you to a physical experience without touching your body at all, getting you to move at all, nothing. And you felt that inside your body. So let's see what we can do to change it. Okay, so let's get you back into closing your eyes. Again, both feet on the floor, feet grounded. Feel your feet touching the ground. Feel your bum on the chair. And then close your eyes and start to breathe. Again, nice, relaxed, deep breath in. And then let the natural recoil of your lungs get rid of that air, and then bring in a new breath. Slowly and purposefully now, bring new breath into your body. And now imagine that each breath, each new breath that fills your lungs has a healing energy to it. Just imagine there's a lightness to that air as it's coming into your lungs. And each time you breathe in, you're filling your lungs with that new air, refreshing, rejuvenating, and then you're exhaling and releasing out all of the rest. And now let's bring your mind into this exercise as well. So what I want you to do is think about the most pleasureful moment that you've had in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Try to think of something that really made you smile, or made you happy, made you feel content, made you feel like a success, made you feel like you were loved. Any one of those things. Just try to find one thing that was your favorite moment out of the last 2 to 3 weeks. And bring your full attention to that. Relive that moment as completely as you can. Be in that moment again, in your mind. And visit it with everything you are, all 5 senses. See what was there. Hear the noises that were there, smell, sounds. If there was some touch involved, be in that experience. And then as you continue to relive that experience, also now be in your body and feel what's happening to your body as you're reliving that experience. Try to think of the words that you would use to describe how your body feels when you're in that experience. Completely there. All good. And then slowly make your way back into the room. Even though you don't want to leave that place, come back into the room. Come back, open your eyes, and give me some words that may have described your body when you were having that memory and that experience. Anyone?
Relax.
Relax. Anything else?
Refreshing.
Refreshing. Was there a shift from the first time to this time? Did you actually feel a difference between the two experiences? Yes? Yes? Do you realize how short of time that was to bring you from those tight sensations, those anxious feelings, those sadness? Do you see how quickly it was that we could transition you from tightness to relaxation, from sadness to something different? It doesn't take a lot. But we manipulated your mind. We brought your mind to a place where it was re-experiencing something that it remembered to be true. And as a result of being in that moment, the body had the moment too. You see, because the body doesn't know the difference between something that you experience only in your mind or you experience in real person, as long as you're as fully present with that feeling or that thought as you can be. So that's a really powerful thing to remember. A lot of times when we're teaching mind-body techniques or ways to get people to have a different life experience, they will say, oh, but it takes a lot of time and it's so hard. And I just showed you a very simple exercise. So even if you fall asleep for the rest of the talk, now you know, right? There's one thing that you can do. If you want to increase the level of joy in your life, the quality of your life, remember the good times. Close your eyes, get quiet, and remember the good times with all the focus that you can muster. And be in that moment, and you will change your physiology. Once you start changing your physiology, it has the reverse effect, and it starts to affect your mind. So just by doing that one little exercise, you can actually start to change your life forever. And so that's why I wrote the book, and we put together a book. I didn't write it all, but we put together a book called The Thought That Changed My Life Forever back in 2013. It jumped up to the Amazon #1 bestseller list in the self-help categories because a thought literally can change your life forever. So that's kind of what I'm going to talk about now, in addition to what we said. Did anybody have any questions about what we just did? Again, maybe not everybody had the same physical experience that everyone else did, but there were several of you in here that could actually feel it, could actually feel the difference. And I hope for those of you who maybe couldn't, that that's hope for you. If they can, you can too. It just takes some practice. Okay? Okay, awesome. So this is kind of what I love to do in my practice. I love to follow this quote, which says, the doctor of the future will give no medicine, but will interest his or her patients in the care of the human frame, chiropractic, in a proper diet, and in the cause and prevention of disease. And you see, every disease, if you talk to, there's an author by the name of Carolyn Myss, and she's a medical intuitive, one of the foremost medical intuitives in the world. And what she has said is that all disease is related to emotional disturbance. So when she's feeling something that's going on in a person, she can actually detect what kind of emotional disturbance was also happening to start the disease. Now, environment obviously is important, genetics is important to influence disease, exercise is important, hydration is important, nutrition is important, but pain and disease more commonly follows emotional disturbance than physical. Okay? So I want to teach people. I have a passion, like Diana, to teach people about how they can actually treat themselves to help themselves be well and stay better. And my other phrase that I like to use is, give a man a fish, he eats for a day. Teach him how to fish, he eats for a lifetime. I found this online, it's a little mild variation. Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, but if you teach a man to fish, he'll be gone the entire weekend. Right? So that's a little bit a fun twist on that phrase. But teaching and learning can last for a lifetime. So a lifetime of experiences can follow what I'm about to teach you today, hopefully. Again, a lot of what I talk about is a lot of times repeat information. People have heard it before, but when I put things into perspective, I try to make it as simple as possible so that it's easy to understand, easy to grasp, and easy to take action on. So I hope that's what you get to discover today. So I want you to be able to use information today to make, the new year is coming up, right? January 1st is a great time for people as they turn the calendar page. They're also thinking about turning to the next chapter in their life. And they take stock on the previous year, maybe even past few years, and say, what can I do this year coming up? What can I do differently, perhaps, to live a better life. Whatever that means for you, I'd like to be able to help you get there. So speaking of New Year's, does anybody have any resolutions? I put a little collection of potentials on the next page, and I bet you yours will be on there somewhere. Except for, I didn't put lose weight, I don't think. Achievements, right? So we want to achieve things in the new year. Money. We want to make more money. We want to buy things. We want to acquire new stuff, right? Maybe we want to have success in business. Maybe we want to make new friends or cultivate and nurture the ones that we already have. Maybe we want to nurture the relationship, the intimate relationships that we have in our life. Maybe find a new love if we don't have that in our life right now. Maybe we want to look better, right? Maybe we just want to look a little bit better. Get that makeover. Maybe do something to look and feel better and help us feel better about ourselves. Maybe that's one of our goals. We want to actually feel better about ourselves this year. Maybe we want to improve our health. Maybe we want to get better health-wise. And maybe, just maybe, we're looking for more joy. We want to be a little bit more happy. Maybe. The good news is that those who set specific goals for themselves are 10 times more likely to achieve them than those who don't. That's the good news. So if you are planning to make a change, or you'd like to make a change, make it specific. Actually set a goal, write it down. You are 10 times more likely to achieve it than if you didn't. But the bad news is, using statistics, out of all those that create or make resolutions, 25% don't make it past the first week, 35% don't make it past the second week, and over half won't succeed in the next 6 months. So, is it just enough to set a goal? Now, you're already 10 times more likely to make it, but imagine the people that don't set goals. They're definitely not going to make it even past that first week. But how can you beat those odds? Have anybody ever heard of SMART goals? Absolutely. I'm sure a lot of people have. So I'm just giving you a little reminder about SMART goals. So if you're going to set a goal, make it a goal that's specific, measurable, achievable with action steps, realistic, and timely. Meaning it's time sensitive. You set a time goal as well. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Okay? But more importantly, to me, and this is the key point of the programs and things that I teach, remember your personal why. Okay? So if all of those things that we saw on the previous page are things that you want to achieve, don't just achieve them because they'd be nice to achieve. Achieve them because they're personally meaningful to you. If you attach a personal meaning to the goals that you set out for yourself, to me, you are 100 times more likely to achieve it. Because the why is the motivation behind the what. So if you can remember and stay connected, emotionally connected to the meaning and the reasons why you're doing things, you are 100 times more likely to keep trying to achieve them. If you don't have the motivation, it's like having a car that's going to get you to a destination, but you put no gas in it. You know how to drive the car. You know it's a vehicle that's intended to take you somewhere. You have the map. You know where to go, but there's no gas, right? There's no fuel. The motivation is like the fuel in the car. Without it, you're not going to get very far. So let's get down to the heart of the matter. Why do we make resolutions in the first place? Why do we set any goal? And I have a little kitty cat that says, a quick show of hands. This is one of my favorite surveys that I ask every group that I ever teach to. I say, okay, so imagine that you're going to wake up tomorrow. How many of you, waking up tomorrow, would intend to feel worse tomorrow than you feel today? Put up your hand. If you would have the intention, you intend, when you wake up tomorrow, you're going to feel, you want to feel worse than you felt today, right? Nobody, right? How many, on the other hand, would intend or want to feel better tomorrow than they felt today? How many would love to feel better? You want to feel the same?
Yeah, I'm feeling happy.
Excellent, good. So this is exactly the same statistic of almost any group. There's going to be probably about 1 to 5%. They're going to say, you know what? I'm good with the way I am. This is awesome. Nobody says I want to feel worse. And 95 to 98% of the or to 100% of the people say they want to feel better. Guess what? That's why we do everything. Is because we want to keep improving and feeling better. That's why we do anything. Think about it. So remember, that's why we want to do everything. So if we're thinking about all these things again, is this really what we want to achieve? Do we want to achieve money, toys, stuff? Do we really want success? Do we want friends? We want good looks, self-esteem. These are all fun things to have, but the bottom line is we want all of these things because they make us happier. At least we think they make us happier. And in most cases, when we're experiencing them, it does cultivate some joy. It does cultivate some happiness in our life. Happiness is the central theme among all goals that we set for ourselves. So don't forget that. Because if you don't think that that's true, think of a goal. Think of one goal that you would want to achieve that would not make you happier because you achieved it. Right? Right? It's true. It's why we are reward-driven organisms. So our brain works in a way that we are stimulated to move towards the things that bring us pleasure and joy, and we are motivated to get away from the things that bring us pain or hurtful experiences. So isn't it strange that a lot of us keep repeating the same painful experiences? And we don't get out of it. We don't change. Now that's another function of the brain. So the one thing is this stimulation mechanism that wants us to move towards things that are growth enhancing and move away from things that could potentially hurt you. But the unconscious mind really likes familiarity. It really likes predictability. So the unconscious mind, which is working in the background 95% of the time, motivating your decisions that you're making every day, it's stimulated to stay the same. It wants to keep you alive. It doesn't care if you're thriving. It wants you to just stay alive. So basically, based on the unconscious mind, everything that I've done from birth up until now, I'm still alive. Good, let's just keep doing that stuff because we're still alive. Good job, right? That's not moving us towards happiness. That's moving us towards, okay, I'm still alive. You know, if that was a central goal of anybody, right? I mean, it's fun to be alive, but not if you're not having fun, right? Not if you're not having fun. So let's focus on having fun. Remember, the goal behind all goals is happiness, and I spell happiness with a Y because the Y behind the happiness is the most important. So we want to put the happy back into the happiness. It should always be spelled like this, not just on that movie with Will Smith, Pursuit of Happiness. We want it all the time. So, now if that's true, so okay, Christian, okay, that makes sense, right guys? Does it make sense that kind of motivates our goals, happiness, we want to bring more joy into our life? But then, like I said, why are so many of us stuck and not finding our happy? And I like using animals for illustration. And if you have a dog, you know they do that all the time. Now, this is another one of the things I find so amusing. Back in 1776, can somebody tell me what important event happened in 1776? Does anybody know? It was in the U.S. The Declaration of Independence in the United States of America. Some of the biggest minds of the decade, or of that time, of that era, came together, they're leaders of the country, and they said, we need to create a manifesto for our people, right? We got to motivate them. And so one of the most important phrases in this document said that the people of our nation have the unalienable right, which means you can't take it away from them. They have the unalienable right to life,
liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Correct. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Not life, liberty, and happiness. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So you guys in our nation, this great freedom nation, can pursue happiness all you want, but you can't have it. You can just keep chasing after it. You just keep chasing after it. So that's what I put a hint. It's not out there. So what we're chasing is not out there to achieve. It's not out there to bring to us and make us happy. Happiness has always been and will always will be inside of us. And it's up to us to uncover it. It's up to us to discover that happiness that is there and then cultivate it, nurture it, feed it, right? And then let it bring you everywhere. Instead of you trying to find it and finally arrive at it, why don't you realize it and then bring it with you wherever you go, right? That would be my hope. Diana said that about her hopes for you. That would be my hope for you, is that you realize and you achieve it, and then you just bring it everywhere and share it with everybody that you know. Because as human beings, we tend to share. If we're grumpy and angry, we tend to share that, don't we? And if we're happy, we tend to share that too. So it might be selfish of me to try to create a happy nation so that they can share it with me, but I'll be selfish that way. So really, the solution is being happy. Being happy. Being in a state of happiness is really the only way to achieve and sustain a greater level of happiness, not by doing anything else. Okay? And I'm going to show you some statistics. So where's the proof? Because I'm a scientist in addition to a guy I'm a dreamer. I dream, I'm an optimist. I believe everybody has the potential for the same joy, for sure. But I still want to be able to show that there's science behind it. There's actual data. And so I've read many books, and this is one of my favorites. It's called Before Happy, The 5 Hidden Keys to Achieving Success, Spreading Happiness, and Sustaining Positive Change. Sean Aker is a positive psychologist in the States, and that's what the book looks like. And in this book, again, I let them do the research. I'm not going to do the research, I'm just going to quote it, right? Because I want to spend more time sharing what I know with people. But according to his research, happier people tend to live longer. They tend to enjoy more success in business. So lots of people think, well, I get that next promotion, I'm going to be happy. If I'm going to climb up the corporate ladder, I'm going to be happier. Well, people that are happier tend to climb up the ladder better and faster and with more success. Stats, this is not made up. Happier people tend to have better relationships. So people think, well, once I get into a relationship, or once I have a better relationship, I'll be happier. People that are in relationships tend to be happier, and people that are happier tend to be in better relationships. Happier people don't get sick as often. So I'll boast, and I will brag, but I have not missed more than this many days of work in my life. And I've worked for 17 years. Now, it doesn't mean I've never had a cold or a flu. It never stops me, for number one. And number two, I'm never sick enough to take a day off work. Except I had walking pneumonia one time, and I had to take a couple of days off work. But that was about it. I tore all the ligaments in my ankle one day playing tennis, and I worked in the afternoon. Just because I love my work. I love what I do. I've created an environment where, why would I take a day off? Why would I ever take a day off, right? When I can go and do something that I love so much, why? Why would I ever do that? I don't get it. So again, my wish for all the people in the world is that they find something they can do that they love to do, and they get paid for it. It helps to support them. Happier people also recover from traumatic experiences and diseases much faster. In my practice, I see it all the time. People who are depressed, who tend to be depressed, worried, or anxious, tend to not get better as fast. They tend to take longer to heal. So again, I'm motivated to try and help teach people how to be happier because they're going to get better faster. And people will often say, well, aren't you trying to get yourself out of work? Are you taking yourself out of... I say, don't worry. I will never be out of work. There's always going to be painful people in the world, for sure. I hope I can help reduce that number, but there's always going to be people who are in pain. So then how? So here's the next question. So if I give people the information, this is the what, this is the why, and then they're like, okay, but how? How do we do it? I showed you the first exercise. Focus. Focus on that which you remember that brought you joy in the past. Now you know that was true. You don't have to make it up. You know it was true. It cultivated joy. Keep reliving it. If you can't be experiencing something right now that brings you joy, relive something from the past that did. And you can bring that experience into your present moment. People tend to do the opposite. They lament about the past. So they actually bring negative experiences about the past into their present day moment, and that tends to bring them down today when they didn't have to be down, right? But remember, you can change your physiology just by thinking and feeling. So if you're thinking and feeling about the worst things that's happened in the last years, months, days, guess how you're going to feel today? Not that good. So how do we do it? It really all starts with your belief. A belief is an incredibly powerful thing, because a belief tells you, I think I can. A belief says, I think I can. And as soon as you think you can, as Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. You're right. Because another person said, and that's a nice follow-up, if you believe you can, you're halfway there. Once you can cultivate a belief, now you've got the power of the mind on your side. Because the mind can be your best friend or it can be your worst enemy. You all know it. I'm sure you know it. Your mind can be your best friend or it can be your worst enemy. I'd rather it was my friend, right? So I want to put my mind on my side. And I'm always, I don't know if Diana remembers this, when I'm coaching people, I tell you, we're all at least mildly schizophrenic, aren't we? Because we all know we've got multiple conversations going on in our head almost all the time, don't we, right? There's a chatter going on in there. Who's controlling the dialogue? Do you want the unconscious mind controlling the dialogue that's telling you, watch out for that, don't do that, you can't do that? Or do you want your conscious mind engaged with, I want to do this, I'm going to do this, I believe I can do this? Which one do you want? Believe you can, and you're halfway there. So for the rest of the talk, I'm going to introduce you to what I call my 7 core beliefs of happier people. So I'm going to tell you the 7 major characteristics that will differentiate happier people from unhappier people. Okay? In general, there's always exceptions to every rule, but I try as much as possible to talk in the universal. So if you can find exceptions to the rule, tell me, and I might change the wording of how I say these things. So number 1, that's what we're going to do. So number 1 is responsibility. I always like to put quotes with everything too, because they're fun and they're easy to remember, or well, not easy to remember, but they motivate you. The moment you take responsibility for everything in your life is the moment you can change anything in your life. Happier people tend to believe in the responsibility that they have in their experience. So I have a belief, 100% belief, that I bring every experience into my existence. So I am responsible for everything that shows up today for me. Everything. And so if I believe that, then I'm not blaming anybody for anything. No blame, no shame, just me. Right? Now, does that mean that I believe I'm all powerful? No. No, because I'm in a society, I'm in a community where everyone else is also influencing everything else. But I hold the power to influence how I'm going to feel about everything. I hold that power, which is an incredible power. So you think about this. Imagine 100 people have 100 different people experience the same event. The exact same event. All the variables and details are exactly the same. What's the likelihood we'll have 100 exactly the same stories from the people that come away from the event? Absolutely 0. It's going to be different. Almost every single story is going to be different related to the exact same situation. So, what's more important in your life? The situation that happens or the story you tell about the situation that happens? What's more important relative to your future? The story. The story, not the event. Remember that. Again, one of the most powerful tools you can bring forward with you. It's the story you tell, not the event you experienced, that's going to dictate how you feel moving forward. So, tell the difference. Take responsibility for what shows up. Just go, okay, well, that happened. What am I going to do about it? Or how am I going to feel about it? That happened. I can't change. That happened. So lamenting about the happened is not going to change what happened. But thinking of ways that I can create a different story can change what happened in my mind, which is going to change everything for me. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
I think you just made a piece of my professional life much clearer.
Woo!
And I work with young kids.
Yeah.
And all the time we use story with young kids.
Okay.
And part of it is because human beings understand narrative as a mechanism to promote memory.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
True.
But if I work with kids and I present them with stories around events, and they can see stories that tell the same event,
Mm-hmm.
but differently, right? So, you present a story to a child about something that could be hard to deal with, but the story is a way to deal with it, right? So there's all these narratives that we're
That's
always
right.
feeding to kids as
Nice.
so I just went,
Very
you know what?
important.
That's why I need to make sure I
Awesome.
don't forget to teach stories still,
Absolutely.
even though my whole research says teach them to read, but nonfiction.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you.
No problem. And remember, we can always change the story. We have license to change our story. We own the copyright. We can change it. Nobody can tell us how to react to our life. They can try, but they're not going to dictate anything to me. I'm going to change my story any way I want to at all times. Now, my one caveat or my one exception is, whenever you're creating change for anything, please, whatever you do, I will never endorse this if you intend harm to others or yourself. I will say that's not okay. Everything else, change the story. But do not intend harm to anyone else or yourself. Okay? That's the only condition I think I put onto anything. Just don't intend harm. Intention is another powerful word we can talk about, but just don't intend harm. Number 2, presence. So remember, 7 core beliefs of happier people. Number 1, take full responsibility for your life. Never blame another person or existence on the bad things that happen to your life. Everything has meaning. Number 2, presence. This is one of my favorite ones. Pooh. What day is it? Asked Pooh. It's today, squeaked Piglet. My favorite day, said Pooh. Imagine waking up every day. Imagine waking up every day and saying, this is my favorite day. Because it's today. It's my favorite day. So when I'm coaching people, I say, what are you going to do with today? Because what you do with today is going to make it what it's going to be. What are you going to do? Right? What are you going to do with it? It's today, my favorite day. Okay? If you have that attitude when you get out of bed, man, I'm looking forward to what's going to go on today. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. Then what happens to in your day is you tend to see the things that you're looking forward to. You know how it's like when you want to buy a car and you think, oh, that's a really cool car, and then all of a sudden you start seeing them all over the place. They're like everywhere. Before that, you're like, oh, that's a cool new car, but it's like I never recognized that before, but now because I'm going to buy one, I see it everywhere, right? It's everywhere. So what you put into your intention, what you put into what you're looking forward to, tends to show up in your life. What do you want to show up in your life? Be present. Be present every day. So what happens also, the difference between happier and unhappier people, you'll hear the unhappier people say, if only I made a different decision, my life would be so much better. If only I didn't do that, my life could be so much better. Or they'll say, when I get this, my life could be so much better. When it's going to change, I'm going to be so... It's like, what happened to right now? Like, remember, the present moment is the only moment you'll ever have. Really, if you think about it, the present moment is the only moment you're ever going to experience. It just keeps repeating. It's just the details change. But the moment is where you want to be. Because when you're in the moment, you get to have the fullest expression, the fullest experience of what's going on. And that's what I want for myself, and I hope for you. Goals. If you want to be happy, set a goal that commands your thoughts, liberates your energy, and inspires your hopes. If you want to be happier, set a goal that inspires you. Like I said before, it's the why that's the most important thing. Why are you going to do what you're going to do? If you make it personally meaningful, you are 100 times more likely to actually achieve it and do it. Just remember your why. Set a goal, though. Remember, setting a goal is important. Make it specific, measurable, achievable, or action steps, SMAR, realistic, and timely. Okay, smart. So take action. An inch of movement will bring you closer to your goals than a mile of intention. So everyone say, oh, this is one of my favorite things that one of my favorite / least favorite excuses that I hear from my clients. I'm going to try. I'm trying. I'm like, okay, well, what are you actually doing? Well, and I use the example. I say, when I'm dealing with people and I'm working on aligning the body, I'm trying to realign the body. It was designed symmetrically. We're going to try to recreate symmetry. I say, what I'd like you to do is stretch the tight areas, the ones that are tight. I want you to loosen them up so that helps to balance everything else. And then I see a person a week later or 2 weeks later for a follow-up, and then I say, how did the stretches go? And they say, not bad. A lot of times I get, not bad. And I say, okay, well, how many days did you stretch? How many times did you stretch? And they go, well, I tried to stretch every single day. I tried to stretch. I said, that's awesome. Now, how many days did you actually stretch? And I've asked this question several times and got a 0. After somebody said, I tried to stretch every single day, 0 was the number of days I actually stretched. And I said, well, no wonder your body's still tight, right? Because you didn't take action. So trying to do anything does nothing. It's what I've come to realize, it's the lazy brain's way of doing. Because if you hear your brain saying you're trying, you're like, well, that's pretty good. At least I'm trying, right? Really, it's like you hear your brain saying, Christian, you're really trying hard at this. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. I'm pretty good, aren't I? And then if I had somebody say, but what are you actually doing? I'd be like, oh, shoot. Actually, maybe I need to kick my own butt a little bit more because trying isn't getting me anywhere. Mile of intention versus an inch of action, which one gets you better results, right? Definitely have good intentions. Definitely be motivated, but take action. Comparing. Oh, this is happiness, evil enemy. Instead of comparing our lot with that of those who are more fortunate than we are, we should compare it with the lot of the great majority of our fellow men and women. It then appears that we are among the privileged. Unhappy people tend to do what I call comparing up. Unhappy people tend to look around for the people that have more, do more, be more. They tend to compare themselves always with the people that are in places they want to be, but they're not. So what happens is in that comparison, they're up there, I'm down here. How does that feel when they're up there and I'm down here? Not good, right? But happier people tend to say, I'm doing pretty well compared to most, or to a lot, or to some. And so I'm feeling like I'm here, I'm kind of average, let's say I'm right in here, but I'm like, at least I'm not here. And then how does this feel compared to this? Pretty good. I'm in the same spot. Comparing here, I'm like, oh, that's not very good. Comparing here, I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. Right? Different feeling. Same place. Same place, different feeling. Does that make sense? So many people tend to compare up. Don't do it. Don't get stuck in that trap. You can set goals for yourself, but don't compare yourself. Just say, I'm good where I'm at right now, and I'm continuing to grow and evolve and plan. All right. Okay, so please do that. Awareness. Awareness is the first step to everything, right? Be aware. So there comes a point, and this is a good reminder, there comes a point when you have to realize that you'll never be good enough for some people. The question is that your problem or theirs? Right? Have an awareness, a self-awareness, basically that lets you see that you are created equal to everybody else. Have an awareness of what your talents, your gifts, your natural strengths are. Focus on those and feel strong, feel talented, feel gifted. If you focus on the things that you cannot do, then you feel lack, you feel unable, you feel broken. What's the difference? There's a big difference, but you're the same person. Same person being aware of two different things, but be aware. Be aware of where you're at. Be aware of what you're thinking. In other words, be conscious. Practice consciousness. Let conscious mind be the driver of your vehicle, not the unconscious mind. Okay? We're almost there. The seventh habit of happier people is they tend to give more than those who are unhappy. Unhappy people tend to want to hoard things and keep things themselves. And like, I don't want anybody to take my stuff, right? I don't want to be without this stuff. So they tend to be closed and tight. Happier people tend to be, what I have, I share with others. What I have, I share with others. There will always be more. There will always be more. So let's share. The meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. So as I mentioned before, people in our human beings tend to want to share. So what do you want to share with others? And what do you want others to share with you? Their happiness or their unhappiness? Right? I say any emotion is a good emotion because it just is. But which emotions do you want to get stuck with? Right? An emotion I call is energy in motion. You've probably heard of that before. So if you feel an emotion, as long as you let it continue moving, it will not stick with you. An emotion is energy in motion. Don't stop it. Right? Don't stop it. So if you feel sad, feel sad. Don't stop it, because whatever you resist tends to persist. So if you're trying to fight against an emotion, it will tend to fight back and want to exist. You haven't let it flow. So emotion needs to keep moving. So let it move. So people have asked me before, I do a lot of work with people who are very sad, very upset, very depressed, very anxious. I've worked with a lot of people, and they say, ooh, that must be so draining for you. And I go, no. It's not, because it's not my stuff, right? And if I have a tendency to feel, because sometimes I will feel with my client, I imagine that energy inside of me is like a river that's always moving. So if your stuff gets stuck, gets projected onto me, it just gets into that river and it just keeps moving. There's a source and there's an exit point, right? The source of my energy is all-knowing. The source of my energy is consciousness, God consciousness, whatever you want to call it. That's the source of my energy. It's infinite. It's infinite, so I never have to worry about being without it, right? I just have to tap into it and just keep letting it flow. Your energy is finite as far as I'm concerned. As far as I'm concerned. So if your energy gets impacted on mine, it just keeps flowing. I just keep tapping and off it goes. That's a real important secret for anyone who's an empath, or if you tend to feel other people's stuff, really, if you tend to feel it, just remember, when you feel it, you don't have to do anything with it. Just let it go, right? It's their stuff. It's their lesson they have to deal with. Let them deal with it. Be there for them if you want to. Love them. Support them. But don't take on their energy, because it's not yours. It's not yours. It'll feel very foreign in your body, and it will start to hurt. Don't keep it. So those are the 7 principles. Let's see if I can remember them all. 1 is take responsibility for your life, right? Number 2, well, there's definitely presence. There's comparing. There's awareness, so that's 4. There's giving, that's 5. Ooh.
Action.
Take action, action.
Set goals.
And which one?
Set goals.
Set goals. Let's see if we cover them all. Giving, awareness, comparing, action, goals, good job, presence, and responsibility. Nice, well done, thanks. You're listening. That's good. Okay, there we go. And now, so that's the 7. And then I say, if you want to make it really simple. So I have something, the first exercise that I give my clients in the course, I've created a course, I call it Happiness Unlimited, because I believe that it's infinitely possible for everyone. In the first exercise that I give people is to focus on the word appreciation. Can anybody give me the definition of the word appreciation?
Gratitude.
Thank you. That is one potential definition of that word. Anybody else know another definition of the word appreciation?
Thankful.
Similar to gratitude, thank you. Part of it, thank you.
Means to really look at it. Right? When you appreciate something, first you have to
Close.
really know it.
Close. Okay, I'll give you a hint.
Consideration.
Nice. Again, another component. Nice. But what I'm thinking of is the definition that's associated with the word appreciation. Think of the word depreciation. Does anyone know what the right? As soon as I say the word depreciation, in any course that I teach, any talk that I give, nobody gives me the definition of value for appreciation, but they always know decrease in value for depreciation. It's so funny. Appreciation is all about an increase in value. An increase in value instead of a decrease in value. So if you focus on, now this is the simplest, one of the simplest exercises you can do to increase your level of joy, control your emotions in your life, is to focus on appreciation. Appreciation. Imagine, because I was trying to think a long time ago when I was first coming up with this program, the happiness program, I'm thinking, okay, Christian, what actually happens when you're feeling happy? Like, what actually happens? What are you actually doing? I'm like, if I'm going to teach a course on happiness, I should probably tell them what it actually means, or how you cultivate it. So I'm thinking, what do I do? And the common thread when I'm feeling happy is that I'm appreciating the moment I'm in. I'm either appreciating the person I'm with, the event that's happening, the situation, my environment, whatever. I'm appreciating it. And what that really means is that I realize its value to me. And by having it in my experience, my life is richer. So I'm appreciating it, my life becomes more full. So when I'm happy, I'm appreciating. So, on the other hand, if I start to appreciate more, I'll actually cultivate more happiness, right? So, here's a quick little exercise for you right now. Think of the number of ways that you really, truly appreciate yourself. Think of the words. You don't have to tell them to me, but think of as many words as you can to think of how do you appreciate yourself truly? What do you appreciate about yourself? I'll give you like 30 seconds. Okay? That was probably 20. But what I want you to do, did anybody find it hard? No? A little bit? Okay, a little bit. There's some honest people in the room. Right? Now, okay, so what I want you to do now is instead think of the people in your life and think of all the words of appreciation that you have received in your life. Think of your colleagues at work. Think of your family members. Think of your friends. Think of your parents, your kids. Think of all the people, and think of the number of things they've said about you that are appreciative. Mom, you are. Diana, you are. Diana, I appreciate because. Is it easier to think of words when you're thinking of other people talking about you? Most people find it easier because most of us don't tend to appreciate ourselves enough. We tend to appreciate others, and we can recall times when people have said things about us that were really nice, but we're not sure we believe them yet, right? We're not sure. We're so hard on ourselves. Why do you think we don't feel as good as we could feel? You are with you. You understand this point. You live with you. And you are the only, are we almost finished? Or you had a question?
Oh, yes, concerning what you're saying.
Sure.
This is about the probably many of us, we don't relate that we are the protagonist of life.
You're the protagonist?
That's right.
Nice. Yes.
So that's why we don't feel, so much appreciation to ourselves.
But where do we put that appreciation?
In the others.
Right. Why?
Because they are the lead characters.
We just don't, and remember, it's just a story that we keep telling ourselves. And a lot of times, see, it's much easier for the unconscious mind to hold on to a negative thing that's said about you. Because again, remember, it wants to pay attention to the things that could hurt you. So it's more likely to remember that. You hear one bad comment, you will remember it better than 10 good ones. As soon as you hear one, it washes out all the 10 good ones. Boom, there it is. You have to understand and value yourself at least as much as everyone else.
Why do people?
Training, unconscious mind. That's what I'm teaching. It's the unconscious mind teaches you to survive, not to thrive. So we have to connect with consciousness in order to be able to learn to thrive, not just survive. We have to. We have to. The unconscious mind keeps you alive. It keeps you alive, so it needs to be hyper aware of things in your environment that could hurt you. It's always on guard. It's always on duty. Conscious mind goes to sleep and just relaxes. How many people have experienced this? Driving a car, you're driving along, dum, 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 and all of a sudden you have this realization, I have no idea how I got here from 4 blocks ago. Right? And how is that possible? You're on the road, other cars are around, there's pedestrians, all kinds of things, lights that you have to pay attention to. You have no idea. Unconscious mind keeps you alive, even if your conscious mind is drifting and you're thinking about something else. Your unconscious mind is still diligent and trying to keep you alive. Why can people get into accidents? Because they really don't pay attention. Their unconscious mind goes somewhere else too. I don't know. Or it's just accidents happen. But what I was going to say is, remember the one thing, a hint or a reminder I can give you is that you are the only one that will live with you for sure, guaranteed for the rest of your life. So that's the most important relationship that you should nurture and cultivate. Everyone else will come and go. You are guaranteed to live with you for the rest of your life. That's why it's so important to make sure that you have nice conversations with you, right? You treat yourself well. You don't put yourself down, right? Be nice, because you don't get to divorce yourself, right? You don't get to decide to move on to another relationship. It's like you, and that's it. Like, that's what you're going to do for the rest of your life. So focus on appreciation. I'm going to leave you with one little daily drill you can do, daily exercise you can do that will help you cultivate this feeling of appreciation. Every morning when you get up, focus on 3 things that you will look forward to in that day. Write them down. Like, keep a journal. Writing stuff down is one of the ways that you can actually help to cultivate more joy in your life, especially when you're writing down things you appreciate about yourself and your life. Focus on 3 things in the morning. Focus on 3 things. Write them down that you are looking forward to in your day. If you did that every day, and you can't repeat them, so you can't say, okay, number 1, I'm looking forward to my coffee. Number 2, I'm looking forward to my Big Mac. And then number 3, I'm looking forward to going to bed early. Like and then every day you write the same thing. I'm just going to be, this is what I'm doing. Christian said, he said, write the same thing. How come I'm not getting happier? Okay, number 1, coffee, Big Mac, right? Sleep may be good, but the other 2 things, not so much. So if you focus on 3 different things that you're looking forward to in your day, what do you think will happen? And they're different every day. What do you think will start to happen when you know you're looking forward to, and you're going to write down 3 things you're looking forward to every single day of your life? What do you think is going to start happening in your life?
It'll make you happy.
Sorry.
You'll be more inspired.
More inspired.
Make you more happy.
Make you more happy. Why will it make you more happy?
Because you're looking forward.
Because you're looking forward, exactly. Because you're looking forward to things. What did you say?
Well, I just want more energy in your life.
Yes, absolutely. And if you write down the things, and if you have a task you give yourself, you say, oh shoot, I gotta write down 3 things tomorrow. I better start thinking of some things I gotta look forward to, right? If you make a commitment to it, and if you did that one simple exercise for the rest of your life, I guarantee, no exceptions, I guarantee you will start to feel better than you feel today. Guaranteed. Can you do it? How hard is that? Right? I gotta get a paper out. I gotta write something down. So hard. Oh.
You sound like a grade 2.
And then you know what you'll tell me as I leave? I'm gonna try to do it, Christian. I'm gonna try. See what I can do. Right? It take you less than 3 minutes probably. 3 minutes for increased joy in your life. 3 minutes a day. I think you're worth that much. Yes.
I have a friend that I can think of. She's just going through some very difficult time, and she's just diagnosed with breast cancer.
That's awful.
How can I encourage, of the person who has this big predicament, how could he or she have that kind of exercise?
Thank you. It's a good question. When I'm talking to people and coaching people about increasing the level of joy in their lives, it's not as easy for everyone because everyone's situation is different. Everyone's past is different. Everyone's current situation is different. Everyone's emotional intelligence is different capacity. That doesn't mean she can't be happier. Everybody has the same potential to be happier than they are right now. And so, if I'm in that situation, I can focus on I'm alive. I can focus on I'm alive and I have an opportunity to make something of my day, right? I can sit here and be depressed about my situation because it can be depressing. Obviously, it's scary. It could be a lot of work to try and get treatment for this. It could affect relationships in your life. Absolutely. So again, that's a hard situation. I'm not giving up.
Count blessings, maybe?
As much as possible. As much as possible. Read stories that are inspiring. Read stories of people who have survived. Read people who have survived from worse than that. Read how they did it. Start doing things. There was a guy that healed from something that nobody thought that you could heal from, and he watched comedies every day. He made sure he was watching something that made him laugh every single day, so that he could focus on something that was more joyful than his current situation, right? The pain, the whatever he was going through that was hard. So absolutely, that's way harder than me doing it in my life when I'm healthy and I've got a healthy marriage and I've got a kid and I've got a good job. Yeah, way easier for me to do it. But if we do the same thing, we have the same potential to increase our level of experience, right? Okay? Okay. So I think that's just about it for me. And then I say, if you want to make all that happy stuff more likely, and you want to make 2017 your best year yet, you could come and get more of it at my next Happiness Unlimited program. I run it's a weekly program, 8 weeks in a row, one day a week for 8 weeks straight. The reason why I do it that way, there's lots of people that hold weekend workshops, you know, how you get all razzed up and motivated and inspired, and then that's it. And then you just kind of plop back into your life and off you go. Nowadays, the research says it takes up to 60 days to create a new habit. So if you want to create happiness as your habit for 2017, then 8 weeks is 56 days, pretty close to 60 days. Helps to create. Every week it's supported and grows and gets better, and we teach all kinds of things.